times they came to a full stop and let me out. I slammed the doors shut behind me, waved goodbye, stepped out onto the hard snow. The biting wind hit me in the face. At last I was here in New York City, a city like a web too intricate to understand, and I wasn't going to try. I was there to find singers, the ones I'd heard on record, most of all to find Woody Guthrie. On one of my visits to the hospital, Woody would tell me about some boxes of songs and poems that he had written that had never been seen or set to melodies, that they were stored in the basement of his house in Coney Island, and that I was welcome to them. In the next day or so, I took the subway from the West 4th Street station all the way to the last stop, like he said, in Brooklyn. I saw what looked to be a row of houses across a field, the kind he described, and I walked towards it, only to discover I was walking out across a swamp. I sunk into the water, knee level, but kept on going anyway. When I came out the other end, my pants from the knees on down were drenched, frozen solid, and my feet almost numb. But I found the house and knocked on the door. A babysitter opened it slightly, said that Margie, Woody's wife, wasn't there. I didn't want to push it. The babysitter was uncomfortable, and I stayed just long enough to warm up and then said a quick goodbye and left, with my boots still waterlogged, trudged back across the swamp to the subway platform. 40 years later, these lyrics would fall into the hands of Billy Bragg and the group Wilco, and they would put melodies to them, bring them to full life, and record them. It was all done under the directions of Woody's daughter, Nora. These performers probably weren't even born when I had made that trip out to Brooklyn.
You won't be surprised to know I know that passage by heart. Welcome to what we're calling I'll Be Your Bobby Tonight. My own personal contribution comes from a time when I was 14 years old, and Bob came into my life via a friend of mine, Graham Patton, at school, and he said to me he had this copy of this Bob Dylan album, The Times They Are Changing, and I swapped it for my copy of the Jackson 5's Greatest Hits. And I feel it was a moment of transition for me, a moment of great change. Oh, the time will come up when the wind will stop and the breeze will cease to be breezing, like the stillness on the wind before the hurricane begins, the hour that the ship comes in. And the sea will split as the ship will hit, and the shoreline sands will be shaken, and the tide will pound, and the wind will sound, and the morning will be breaking. Oh, the fish will laugh as they swim out of the path, and the seagulls, they'll be a-smiling, and the rocks and the sand will proudly stand the hour that the ship comes in. And the words that are used for to get the ship confused will not be understood when they're spoken, and the chains of the sea will be busted in the night and be buried at the bottom of the ocean. Oh, a song will lift as the mainsail shifts and the ship drifts heavy on the shoreline, and the sun will respect every face on the deck the hour that the ship comes in. And the sand will roll out a carpet of gold for your weary toes to be a touching, and the ship's wise men will remind you once again that the whole wide world is watching. Our foes will rise with the sleep still in their eyes, and they'll jerk from their beds and think they're dreaming. Then they'll pinch themselves and squeal, and they'll know that it's for real the hour that the ship comes in. And they'll raise their hands saying we'll meet all your demands, and we'll shout from the bow, your days are numbered. Like Pharaoh's tribe, they'll be drowned in the tide, and like Goliath, they'll be conquered.
I suppose what I was looking for was what I read about in On the Road, looking for the great city, looking for the speed, the sound of it, looking for what Allen Ginsberg had called the hydrogen jukebox of the world. Maybe I'd lived in it all my life, a wasted world and totally mechanized, a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of shelves to clean, boxes to stack. I wasn't going to pin my hopes on that. Creatively, you couldn't do much with it. I had already landed in a parallel universe anyway, with more archaic principles and values, one where actions and virtues were old style and judgmental things came falling out on their heads. A culture with outlaw women, super thugs, demon lovers, and gospel truths. Streets and valleys, rich, peaty swamps with landowners and oil men, Stagger Lees, Pretty Pollies, and John Henrys. An invisible world that towered overhead with walls of gleaming corridors. It was all there, and it was clear, ideal and God-fearing, but you had to go find it. It didn't come served on a paper plate. Folk music was a reality of a more brilliant dimension. It exceeded all human understanding, and if it called out to you, you could disappear and be sucked into it. What I was looking for were folk music records, and the first one I saw was Odetta on the Tradition label. I went into the listening booth to hear it. Odetta was great. I had never heard of her until then. She was a deep singer, powerful strumming, and a hammering on style of playing. I learned almost every song off the record right then and there.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest was the first person to record a Bob Dylan song, and as you've heard, she was a hero to him. And so rightly, he came along the studio to meet her, but she had very firm ideas about how she wanted to record that song, so she asked him politely if he might leave. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Odetta.
Thank you. If today was not an endless highway, if tonight was not a crooked trail, if tomorrow wasn't such a long time, lonesome wouldn't mean nothing to me at all. Love, only my true love is waiting. If I could hear his heart softly pounding, and only if he was lying by me, then I'd lie in my bed once again. Love, I can't see my reflection in the waters. I can't speak the sounds that show no pain. I can't hear the echo over my footsteps. I can't remember the sound of my own name. Love, only if my true love's waiting. If I could hear his heart softly pounding, and only if he was lying by me, then I'd lie in my bed once again. Love, there's beauty in the silver singing river. There's a beauty in the sunrise in the sky. But none of these and nothing else can match the beauty that I remember in my true love's eyes. Only if he was lying by me, only if he was waiting home before me, only if he was lying by me, then I'd lie in my bed once again. Love, 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 love. I remember hearing this song, and so many wonderful images in it. This is Bob's Mr. Tambourine Man. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy, and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jangle morning, I'll come that evening's empire has returned into sand, vanished from my hand, left me blindly here to stand, but still not sleeping. My weariness amazes me. I'm branded on my beat. I have no one to meet, and the ancient empty streets too dead for dreaming. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy. There is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. The jingle jangle morning, I'll come following you. Take me on a trip upon your magic swirling ship. My senses have been stripped. My hands can't feel to grip. My toes too numb to step. Wait only for my boot heels to be wandering. I am ready to go anywhere. I'm ready for to fade into my own parade. Cast your dancing spell my way. I promise to go under it. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy. There is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jangle morning, I'll come following you. Though you might hear laughing, spinning, swinging madly across the sun, it's not aimed at anyone. It's just escaping on the run. And but for the sky, there are no fences facing. And if you hear vague traces of skipping reels of rhyme to your tambourine in time, it's just a ragged clown behind. I wouldn't pay it any mind. It's just a shadow you're seeing that he's chasing. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy. There is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. And the jingle, jingle morning, I'll come following you. Then take me disappearing through the smoke rings of my mind, down the foggy ruins of time, far past the frozen leaves, the haunted, frightened trees, out to the windy beach, far from the twisted reach, crazy sorrow. Yes, to dance beneath the diamond sky, one hand waving free, silhouetted by the sea, circled by the circus sands, with all memory baked deep beneath the waves. Let me forget about today till tomorrow. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy. There is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jangle morning, I'll come following you.
Our next artist is but 20 years old. He hails from Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. And both of his parents were singer-songwriters who were performing and writing in Greenwich Village in the 1960s. Please give a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Willy Mason.
Thanks, Billy. Yeah. Okay. My parents were both singer-songwriters, as Billy said, Jemima James and Michael Mason. They still write plenty of stuff, and they still teach me songs all the time. And that's what got me started playing guitar when I was about 8. My mom taught me Froggy Went A-Courtin' and He Did Ride. And then I bought a Nirvana tab book and didn't talk to her for a while. But the reason we're here is for the man Bob Dylan. Yeah, and he obviously had a big influence on me. And I'll start off with To Ramona. Ramona, come closer, shed softly your watery eyes. The pangs of your sadness will pass as your senses will rise. For the flowers of the city, the whole breath like yet death like sometimes. And there's no use in trying to deal with the dying, though I cannot explain that in lines. Your cracked country lips I still wish to kiss, as to be by the strength of your skin. Your magnetic movement still captures the minutes I'm in. But it grieves my heart, love, to see you trying to be a part of a world that just don't exist. It's all just a dream, babe, a vacuum, a scheme, babe, that sucks you into feeling like this. I can see that your head has been twisted and fed with worthless foam from the mouth. I can tell you are torn between staying and returning back to the south. You've been fooled into thinking that the finishing end is at hand. Yet there's no one to beat you, no one to defeat you, except the thought of yourself feeling bad. I've heard you say many times that you're better than no one, and no one is better than you. If you really believe that, you know you have nothing to win and nothing to lose. From fixtures and forces and friends, your sorrow does stem. That hype you and type you and making you feel that you've gotta be just like them. I'd forever talk to you, but soon my words would turn into a meaningless ring. For deep in my heart, I know there's no help I can bring. Everything passes, everything changes. Just do what you think you should do. Someday, maybe, who knows, baby, I'll come and be crying to you. Now this last one's a contribution of my own that I wrote couple years ago, actually. Thank you guys for being here. It's an honor for me to be on this stage tonight. Sun don't set in Gettysville, the place that I call home. 1,000 people walk these streets, but we're still all alone. This city's isolation like the drug that paves the roads. Take the subway uptown to my mother's place. She's got 1,000 friends, but all they know of her's her face. All alone inside her head, her thoughts begin to race. Live it up, they say. Live it up. No time to waste your life away. Next door to me, the ceiling leaks, cracks stretch across the walls like skeletons of dreams deceased, too brittle to evolve. He lies beneath his plastic sheets, bitter and blind to all. Shadows beneath his sunken eyes now taint all that he sees. Like burned and blackened photographs, life is easier a dream. He settles for a cheap escape, forgets all he believed. Live it up, they say. Live it up. Things haven't always been this way. I watched my whole world crumble as I dried my mother's tears, and learned to never stumble as I calmed my father's fears. They say I've seen a lot, they say I'm wise beyond my years. Though my castle may have crumbled, I won't face the world alone. The youth has seen the rubble, and we're ready for the load. As this city burns, my generation's shouting in the roads. Live it up, we say. Live it up. Things haven't always been this way. Live it up. We'd better turn this boat around. If we keep on following the gold, someday we are gonna run aground. Live it up, we say. Live it up, 'cause now it's in our hands to make the change. Thanks a lot.
I agonized about making a record, but I wouldn't have wanted to make singles, 45s, the kind of songs they played on the radio. I had no song in my repertoire for commercial radio anyway. Songs about debauched bootleggers, mothers that drowned their own children, Cadillacs that only got 5 miles to the gallon, floods, Union Hall fires, darkness, and cadavers at the bottom of rivers weren't for radiophiles. There was nothing easygoing about the folk songs I sang. They weren't friendly or ripe with mellowness. They didn't come gently to the shore. I guess you could say they weren't commercial. Not only that, my style was too erratic and hard to pigeonhole for the radio. And songs, to me, were more important than just light entertainment. They were my preceptor and guide into some altered consciousness of reality, some different republic, some liberated republic. Greil Marcus, the music historian, would some 30 years later call it the invisible republic.
The winter of 1962-63 was one of the coldest on record. And it was in December that year that Bob Dylan decided for the first time to come out of the United States of America, and he came to London. And when he came to London, he went around the folk clubs, and some of them looked at him with disdain, but one or two folk artists were a little bit more perceptive of that. And our next artist not only took him home for Christmas 1962 for a beer and a sing-song, but the pair of them also, it got so cold they chopped up a piano with a samurai sword and burned it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Martin Carthy.
Singer killed poor Hattie Carroll with a cane that he twirled round his diamond ring finger in a Baltimore hotel society gathering, and the cops were called in and his weapon took from him as they rode him in custody down to the station and booked William Singer for first-degree murder. I knew who philosophized disgrace and criticize our fears. Take the rag away from your face, for now's not the time for your tears. William Singer, aged 24 years, owning a tobacco farm of 600 acres with rich, wealthy parents to provide and protect him, and high office relatives in the politics of Maryland who reacted to his deed with a shrug of the shoulder and swearing and sneering, and his tongue it was snarling, and in a matter of minutes on bail was out walking. I knew who philosophized disgrace and criticize our fears. Take the rag away from your face, for now's not the time for your tears. Hattie Carroll was a maid in the kitchen, 51 years old, give birth to 10 children who carried the dishes and took out the garbage and never once sat at the head of the table, but just cleaned up all the food from the table and never even spoke to the people at the table, but who emptied the ashtrays on a whole other level. Killed by a blow, lay slain by a cane that came through the air and came down through the room, doomed and determined to destroy all the gentle, and she never did nothing to William Singer. I knew who philosophized disgrace and criticize our fears. Take the rag away from your face, for now's not the time for your tears. the courtroom of honor, the judge pounded his gavel to show the law's equal, and that the courts are on the level, and that the strings in the book aren't pulled and persuaded, and that even the nobles get properly handled once that the cops have chased after and caught 'em, and that the ladder of law has no top and no bottom. Stared at the man who killed for no reason, who just happened to be feeling that way without warning. And he spoke through his cloak, most deep and distinguished, and he handed out strongly for penalty and repentance Williams and Singer with a 6-month sentence. And you who philosophize disgrace and criticize our fears, bury the rag most deep in your face, for now is the time for your tears.
Go.
That old lady is the guitar I used to play at the time I met the gentleman in the King and Queen in Foley Street. That photo is the troubadour on a Tuesday night. I used to believe that there were no photographs of me with Bob. But a Bob Dylan freak down in Haywards Heath came up to visit me and said, "I thought you might like to see this." And that guitar is this one. It's the guitar I worked out this song on. Mind you, I'm not really surprised that I don't remember anything about that night, because there was a fabulous amount of the North African combustible around. As you can probably see by the idiotic grins on people's faces. Okay, this is Scarborough Fair. There's a lot of this in Girl from the North Country. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there, for once she was a true love of mine. Tell her to make me a cambric shirt, parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme, without no seam nor needlework, and then she'll be a true love of mine. Tell her to find me an acre of land, parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme, between the salt water and the sea strand, and then she'll be a true love of mine. Tell her to plough it with a lamb's horn. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, and to sow it all o'er with one peppercorn. And then she'll be a true love of mine. Tell her to reap it with a sickle of leather. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, and to thrash it all out with a bunch of heather. And then she'll be a true love of mine. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there, for once she was a true love of mine.
Thanks a lot. One of England's greatest traditional singers, perhaps one of our greatest guitar players, and a devil with a samurai sword, ladies and gentlemen, Martin Carthy. Our next guest was a beatnik, is a beatnik, and he's here tonight to bring out that essence of Dylan that also was beatnik. Please give it up for England's greatest living beatnik, ladies and gentlemen, Roy Harper.
Hello. Back in the days when Bob was purloining this and that, some of us got pretend angry. We didn't really know what he was stealing. We didn't really know why. In hindsight, it wasn't much. It was just stuff that was 150 years old, and, well, most of it was. But I was one of the ones who, you know, there was actually probably a bit of professional jealousy in there. Why can he get away with that when I can't? But I loved him. I loved him a lot. Eventually, I decided to steal one of his songs, because I realized a very long time ago we were both thieves. Vibe thieves, really. So I stole this song. If you're traveling in the North Country far, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, well, please remember me to one who lives there, for she once was a true love of mine. And if you go when the snow
snowflake storm. When the rivers freeze and summer ends, oh, please see for me she has a coat so warm to keep her from the howling winds. And please see for me that her hair's hanging long, that it rolls and flows all down her breast. Please see for me that her hair's hanging long, for that's the way I remember her the best. I'm wondering if she remembers me at all. Many times I've often laid in the darkness of my night, in the brightness of my day. So if you're traveling in the North Country far, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, please remember me to one who lives there. She once was, she once was a true love of mine. If you're traveling in the North Country far, but the winds hit heavy on the borderline, please remember me. Oh, please remember me to one who lives there. She once was, she once was a true love of mine, true love, true love, true love of mine, true love of mine.
Thank you. This is a song that I'd like to dedicate tonight to the boys of summer. This is a song of mine called When an Old Cricketer Leaves the Crease. For the boys of summer. When the day is done and the ball has spun in the umpire's pocket away, and all remains in the groundsman's pains for the rest of time and a day. There'll be one mad dog and his master pushing for four with a spin on a dusty pitch with 2 pounds 6 of willow wood in the sun. When an old cricket leaves the crease, well, you never know whether he's gone. Sometimes you're catching a fleeting glimpse of a 12th man at silly mid-on. It could be Jeff, it could be John, with a new ball sting in his tail. Could be me, it could be thee, and it could be the sting in the air, the sting in the air. When the moment comes and the gathering stands and the clock turns back to reflect on those years of grace as the footsteps trace for the last time out of the act, well, there's some way of life's recollection, the hallowed strip in the haze, the fabled man and the noonday sun are much more than just yawns of their days. When an old cricket leaves the crease, well, you never know whether he's gone. Sometimes you're catching a fleeting glimpse of a 12th man at silly mid-on. Could be Jeff, it could be John, with a new ball sting in his tail. Could be me, it could be thee, and it could be the sting in the air, the sting in the air. When an old cricketer leaves the crease, well, you never know whether he's gone. And sometimes you're catching a fleeting glimpse of a 12th man at silly mid-on. Could be me, and it could be thee. Silly mid-on, silly mid-on, silly mid-on, oh. sailing on. Thank you.
Topical songs weren't protest songs. The term protest singer didn't exist any more than the term singer-songwriter. You were a performer or you weren't. That was about it. A folk singer or not one. Songs of dissent was a term people used, but even that was rare. I tried to explain later that I didn't think I was a protest singer, that there'd been a screw-up. I didn't think I was protesting anything, any more than I thought that Woody Guthrie songs were protesting anything. What I was hearing pretty regularly, though, were rebellion songs, and those really moved me. The Clancy brothers, Tom, Patty, and Liam, and their buddy Tommy Makem sang them all the time. I got to be friends with Liam and began going after hours to the White Horse Tavern on Hudson Street, which was mainly an Irish bar frequented by guys from the old country. All through the night, they would sing drinking songs, country ballads, and rousing rebel songs that would lift the roof. The rebellion songs were a really serious thing. The language was flashy and provocative, a lot of action in the words, all sung with great gusto. The singer always had a merry light in his eye, had to have it. I loved these songs and could still hear them in my head long after and into the next day. They weren't protest songs, though. They were rebel ballads. Even in a simple melodic wooing ballad, there'd be rebellion waiting around the corner. You couldn't escape it. There were songs like that in my repertoire, too, where something lovely was suddenly upturned, but instead of rebellion showing up, it would be death itself, the grim reaper. Rebellion spoke to me louder. The rebel was alive and well, romantic and honorable. The grim reaper wasn't like that.
Our next guest was in New York City when Bob Dylan blew into town. He was singing with his brothers in an Irish band, and he and Dylan immediately hit it off, and they dated two sisters. Bob went out with Susie Rotolo. Our artist next went out with Carla Rotolo, and Mrs. Rotolo made the best spaghetti in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the great Liam Clancy.
Oh, there he is. The White Horse Tavern was the place where Dylan Thomas took his last drink. Some say his last 36 drinks. And I thought it only fair when I met Bob Dylan first. He came in as a young fellow of 20. I was in my 20s. We used to hang around together. And there was a couple of good things going about the White Horse. I had a tab there, for one thing, and we had no money. I also wanted him to come and see the place where his namesake had died. But also we had fantastic sessions in the back room. One of the songs that Dylan loved when we used to sing it was the song about the highwayman, Willie Brennan. We had gotten it from an old-timer. It was a long, big, long ballad, slow as molasses. And we livened it up to give it the gait of a galloping horse. And it went like this. Chorus was like this. Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor. And one morning, after a night at the White Horse, I was rushing off with guitar, concertina in hand, off to do a television show when I met Bob Dylan on 4th Street. He said, "Hey, man, I wrote a song last night to Brendan on the Moor. You want to hear it? You want to hear it? You want to hear it?" I said, I don't have time. I'm rushing off to this television show. I said, "How long is it?" He said, "It's only 26 verses, man." I said, "Could you not, condense it a little bit?" He said, couldn't be done, man, it's too good. So we condensed it for him. He called it Ramblin' Gamblin' Willie, and here's the way he had it. Hit a bit of it. Come around, you roving gamblers, a story we will tell about the greatest gambler, you all should know him well. His name was Willie Connolly, and he gambled all his life. He had 27 children, yet he never had a wife. And this ride, Willie, ride, roll, Willie, roll, wherever you're a gambling now, nobody really knows. Sailing down the Mississippi to the town of New Orleans, there was a famous card game under Jackson River Queen. I've come to win some money, old Gambling Willie said. And when the game was ended up, the whole damn boat was his. And this ride, Willie, ride, roll, Willie, roll, wherever you're a gambling now, nobody really knows. But Willie had a heart of gold, and this I know is true. He supported all his children and all their mothers too. He wore no rings or fancy things like other gamblers wore. He spread his money far and wide to help the sick and poor. And this ride, Willie, ride, roll, Willie, roll, wherever you're a gambling now, nobody really knows. It was late one fateful evening as they played a poker game. A man lost all his money, he said Willie was to blame. He shot poor Willie through the heart, it was a tragic fate. As Willie's cards fell on the floor, there were aces back with 8. And it ride, Willie, ride, roll, Willie, roll, wherever you're a gambling now, nobody really knows. All you roving gamblers, wherever you might be, the moral of this story is very plain to see. Spend your money while you can before you have to stop. For when you pull that dead man's hand, your gambling days are up. And this ride, Willie, ride, roll, Willie, roll, wherever you're a gambling now, nobody really knows. And this ride, Willie, ride, roll, Willie, roll, wherever you're a gambling now, nobody really knows. The place the White Horse was owned by an old German named Ernie, known as Ernie the German, strangely enough. He always, at the close of the night, Ernie would say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And we used to close with the parting glass. And the parting glass was, it became a ritual to do the parting glass. I'll sing you one verse of it just to give you an idea. Oh, all the money there I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Well, this song stuck in Bob Dylan's mind, and at a tough point in his life where he was saying farewell to old friends and who had accused him of taking money wrongfully and things like that. He was moving on, and he rushed into the studio and recorded a song called The Restless Farewell. And at the end of the first verse, he described so graphically the back room of the White Horse at closing time. all the money that in my whole life I spent, be it mine right or wrongfully, I let it slip gladly past the hands of my friends to tie up the time most forcefully. But the bottles are done, we've killed each one, and the table's full and overflowed, and the corner sign says it's closing time. So I'll bid farewell and be down the road. And every girl that ever I touched, oh, I didn't do it harmfully. And every girl that ever I hurt, I didn't do it knowingly. But to make amends and remain as friends, you need the time to stay behind. And since my feet are now fast and point away from the past, I'll bid farewell and be down the line. And every foe that ever I fought, the cause was there before we came, and every cause that ever I fought it full without regret or shame. But the time is not tall if on time you depend, and no word is possessed by no special friend. And though the line is cut, it's still not the end. I'll just bid farewell till we meet again. Farewell. Thank you, Bobby. Paul Grant. Kevin Evans.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Liam Clancy. Well, thank you very much, Liam, for taking us back to the White Horse there. Our next guest, I first met when she was singing in folk clubs. She's since gone on to become the queen of cabaret, but she stayed true to her roots, and she remains, I believe, one of the great interpreters of Bob Dylan material. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Barb Jungr.
Thank you so much. This first song is a happy song. It comes from the Woodstock period of Dylan's songwriting, and it's perhaps not one of the most intense or profound lyrics superficially, but actually it has a whole underbelly going on of fantastic thought and meaning. I hope you like it. If not for you, babe, I couldn't find the door, couldn't even see the floor. I'd be sad and blue if not for you. If not for you, babe, I'd lie awake all night, wait for the morning light to shine in through. But it would not be new if not for you. If not for you, my sky would fall, rain would gather too. Without your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you, and you know it's true. If not for you, winter would have no spring. Couldn't hear a robin sing. I wouldn't have a clue. Anyway, it wouldn't ring true if not for you. For you, my sky would fall, rain would gather too. Without your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you, and you know it's true. If not for you, winter would have no spring. I couldn't hear a robin sing. I wouldn't have a clue. Anyway, it wouldn't ring true if not for you. If not for you, you. Thank you very much. Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, you threw the bums a dime in your prime, didn't you? People would say, beware doll, you're bound to fall. You thought they were all kidding you. You always laughed about everyone that was hanging out. Now, you don't talk so loud. Now, you don't act so proud about having to be scrounging for your next meal. How does it feel? How does it feel to be without a home? No direction home, like a rolling stone. You've gone to the finest schools, all right, Miss Lonely, but you know you only used to get used in it. And nobody ever taught you how to live on the streets, and now you find you're gonna have to get used to it. You said you'd never compromise with the mystery tramp, but now you realize he's not selling any alibis. face as you look into the vacuum of his eyes and ask him, do you want to make a deal? How does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own? No direction home, like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone. You never turned around to see the frowns on the faces of the jugglers and the clowns when they all came down and did tricks for you. You never understood that it ain't no good. You shouldn't let other people get their kicks for you. You used to ride on a chrome horse with your diplomat, who carried on his shoulder a Siamese cat. Ain't it hard when you discover that he wasn't really where it's sad after he took from you everything that he could steal? How does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own? No direction home, like a complete unknown, like a rolling. How does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own? No direction home, like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone. Princess on the steeple, all the pretty people, they're drinking, thinking that they got it made. Exchanging all kinds of precious gifts and things. You better lift your diamond ring, you better pawn it, babe. You used to be so amused. A Napoleon in rags and the language that he used. Go to him now, he calls you, you can't refuse. When you've got nothing to lose. You're invisible now, you got no secrets to conceal. How does it feel to be on your own? No direction home, like a complete unknown, like a rolling, like a
few years earlier, Ronnie Gilbert, one of the Weavers, had introduced me at one of the Newport folk festivals, saying, "And here he is. Take him. You know him. He's yours." I had failed to sense the ominous forebodings in that introduction. Elvis had never even been introduced like that. Take him, he's yours. What a crazy thing to say. Screw that. As far as I knew, I didn't belong to anybody, then or now. I had a wife and children whom I loved more than anything else in the world. I was trying to provide for them, keep out of trouble. But the big bugs in the press kept promoting me as the mouthpiece, spokesman, or even conscience of a generation. That was funny. All I'd ever done was sing songs that were dead straight and expressed powerful new realities. I had very little in common with and knew even less about a generation that I was supposed to be the voice of. I'd left my hometown only 10 years earlier, wasn't vociferating the opinions of anybody. My destiny lay down the road with whatever life invited, had nothing to do with representing any kind of civilization. Being true to yourself, that was the thing. I was more a cowpuncher than a Pied Piper.
Our next guest was, until the age of 11, a massive Doctor Who fan. Around that age, he was sent away to school, and finding himself lost, he heard Bob Dylan. And like a baby animal, he cleaved to that thing that gave him great comfort. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Robyn Hitchcock.
Thanks, this is John Paul Jones.
Shadows falling, and I've been here all day. It's too hard to sleep. Time is running away. Feel like my soul has turned into steel. I've still got the scars that the sun didn't heal. There's not even room enough to be anywhere. It's not dark yet, but it's getting there. Well, my sense of humanity has gone down the drain. Behind every beautiful thing, there's always some kind of pain. She wrote me a letter, and she wrote it so kind. She finally put down in writing what was in her mind. Sometimes I wonder if she was even there. It's not dark yet, but it's getting there. I've been to London, and I've been to Gay Paris. I followed the river, and it led to the sea. I've been down to the bottom of the whirlpool of lies. I'm not looking for anything in anyone's eyes. Sometimes my burden is more than I can bear. It's not dark yet, but it's getting born here and I'll die here against my will. I know it looks like I'm moving, but I'm standing still. Every nerve in my body is so vacant and numb. I can't even remember what it was I came here to get away from. I don't even hear the murmur of a prayer. It's not dark yet, but it's getting there.
Thank you. Robyn Hitchcock, ladies and gentlemen, yes!
I can't say when it occurred to me to write my own songs. I couldn't have come up with anything comparable or halfway close to the folk song lyrics I was singing to define the way I felt about the world. I guess it happens to you by degrees. You just don't wake up one day and decide that you need to write songs, especially if you're a singer who has plenty of them and you're learning more every day. Opportunities may come along for you to convert something that exists into something that didn't yet. That might be the beginning of it. Sometimes you just want to do things your way, want to see for yourself what lies behind the misty curtain. It's not like you see songs approaching and invite them in. It's not that easy. You want to write songs that are bigger than life. You want to say something about strange things that have happened to you, strange things you have seen. You have to know and understand something and then go past the vernacular. The chilling precision that these old-timers used in coming up with their songs was no small thing. Sometimes you could hear a song and your mind jumps ahead. You see similar patterns in the ways that you were thinking about things. I never looked at songs as either good or bad, only different kinds of good ones.
Our next artist was born in 1975, or as we call it, the year of blood on the tracks. She began playing guitar age 15, spent a long time bumming around playing with the Fife Folk Collective. And that was out, she learned her Bob Dylan songs by the osmosis of the folk process. Ladies and gentlemen, Carthy Tunstall.
Good evening all. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of this incredible lineup this evening, and I'm very, very flattered and consider myself very lucky to be here at all. Blood on the Tracks was the first album I heard of Bob Dylan's, and I think it's probably the ladies' vote, I think, as his albums go. And just to hear him vulnerable like that, you just want to cuddle him. Not just because he's vulnerable. And this is called Tangled Up in Blue.
folks said our lives together sure was gonna be rough. They never did like Mama's homemade dress, and Papa's backpack wasn't big enough. I was standing at the side of the road, the rain falling on my shoes, heading up for the East Coast. Lord knows I paid some dues getting through. Tangled up in blue. She was married when we first met, soon to be divorced. I helped her out of a jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. We drove that car as far as we could and abandoned it out west. Split up on the docks that night over being in West West. Turned around and left to me as I was walking away. I heard her say over my shoulder, we'll meet again someday on the avenue. Tangled up in blue. And I had a job with the great numbers, working as a cook for a spell. But I never did like it all that much, and one day the axe just fell. So I drifted down to New Orleans, always lucky enough to be employed, working for a man on a fishing boat right out of Delacroix. And all the while I was alone, the past was close behind. I seen a lot of women, but she never escaped my mind. I just grew tangled up in blue. She was working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer. Couldn't stop looking at the side of her face in the spotlight so clear. And later on, when the crowd turned out, and I was about to do the same, she came up behind me in the back of my chair, said, "Tell me, don't I know your name?" I'm running something underneath my breath. She studied the lines on my face. Must admit I felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces of my shoe. Tangled up in blue. She lit the burner on the stove and offered me a pipe. I thought you'd never say hello, she said. You look like the silent type. Then she opened up a book of poems and handed it to me, written by an Italian poet in the 13th century. And every one of them words rang true, felt like burning coal, pouring out of every page like it was written in my soul for me. Tangled up in blue. I lived with them on Montague Street, in a basement down the stairs. There was music in cafes at night, and revolution in the air. But he got into dealing with slaves, so make inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned, it just froze up inside. And then when the bottom fell out and I became withdrawn, the only thing I knew how to do was to keep on keeping love, like a bird that flew. Tangled up in blue. Oh, and now I'm going back again. I've got to get to her somehow. And all the people who knew back then, they're in allegiance to me now. Some were mathematicians, some were carpenters' wives. Don't know how it all got started, I don't know what they're doing with their life. Me, I'm still on the road, looking for another job. We always did feel the same, just saw it from a different point of view. Tangled up in blue.
Thank you. Cheers. It's something very special for me when you first put a record on, and that first song, and then the track order, you sort of somehow, on a good album, it all just joins together and becomes this linear thing, and so I'm just going to play track 2.
They sat together in the park as the evening sky grew dark. She looked at him and he felt a spark tingle to his bones. 'Twas then he felt alone. I wish he'd gone straight, watched out for a simple twist of fate. Walked along by the old canal, a little confused, I remember it well. Stopped in a strange hotel with a neon burning bright. It felt the heat of the night, hit him like a freight train, moving with a simple twist of fate. A saxophone someplace far off played as she was walking down by the arcade. A light beat through a bus-stop shade where he was waking up. She dropped a coin into the cup of a blind man at the gate and forgot about a simple twist of fate. He woke up and the room was bare. He didn't see her anywhere. He told himself that he didn't care. Pushed the window open wide. He felt an emptiness inside to which he could not relate. Brought on by a simple twist of fate. Here's the ticking of the clocks. He walks along with a parrot that talks. He hunts her down by the waterfront docks where the sailors all come in. Maybe she'll pick him out again. Oh, how long must he wait? One more time for a simple twist of fate. Tell me it's a sin to know and feel too much within. I still believe she was my twin, but I lost the ring. She was born in spring and I was born too late. Blame it on a simple twist of fate.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid evening's empire has returned into sand. But before you do go, we do have a couple of treats just to finish off by way of an encore. So please, if you'll put your hands together again, please, for Odetta and Liam Clancy.
There's only a few of us left now. Odetta.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Because it's being carried on. Isn't it splendid?
Yes, it is.
It hasn't been left or lost.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many cannonballs must we let fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
How many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? Yes, and how many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head, pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
And how many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Oh, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Odetta and Liam Clancy. We have one last treat for you before you go. Please welcome again Miss Katie Tunstall.
If your memory serves you well, we were gonna meet again and wait. So I think I'll just unpack my
my bags and sit before it gets too late.
No man alive will come to you when another came to tell, and you knew that we shall meet again if your memory serves you well.
Wheels on fire, rolling down the road. Please notify my next of kin. This wheel shall explode. If your memory serves you well, I was gonna confiscate your lace and wrap it up in a sailor's knot and hide it in your case.
And if I knew for sure that it was yours, but it was oh so hard to tell, you know we shall meet again if your memory serves you well.
Wheels on fire, rolling down the road. Please notify my next of kin. This wheel shall explode. If your memory serves you well, you'll remember you're the one who called out me to call out them to get your business done.
And after every plan has failed and there was nothing left to tell, well, you knew that we would meet again if your memory served you well.
Wheels on fire, rolling down the road. Please notify my next of kin. This wheel shall explode. Wheels on fire, rolling down the road. Please notify my next of kin. This wheel shall explode. Wheels on fire, rolling down the road. Please notify my next of kin. This wheel shall explode. Daddy Tunstall, ladies and gentlemen. Please, we're getting our guest for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please give me a round of applause. Martin Carthy, ladies and gentlemen. Barb Jungr. Liam Clancy, Roy Harper, Robyn Hitchcock, Odetta,